morning, everyone. Thank you and welcome for our attempt number 2 for our APTAT webinar. This is our monthly webinar where really we're trying to focus on highlighting some of the fascinating and really useful and innovative technology that we have in our library that sometimes people don't know about because we just don't have enough time to show every single piece to everybody all the time. But today, I'm really excited. We're going to be talking about ReachAble Technologies, Omni Cuff. It's really kind of a nifty little device. Once you see it, you're going to be thrilled with it. I am going to, once I turn everything over to our speaker today, I will be throwing lots of things in the chat. But before I do that, let me go ahead and put our bit.ly link in there. There we go. Oh no. Okay. There we go. So our bit.ly link is bit.ly/4, a lowercase g, the number 2, uppercase Z as in zebra, uppercase R, uppercase W, and then a lowercase x. And that should be in the chat now as well. Okay, so for those of you who are new to our webinar, please feel free to ask questions via chat throughout the session, depending on how Will wants to take them. Usually, if you have any stopping points, I'll let you know what's happening in chat. If you prefer to use a microphone for your questions, we just ask for those to happen at the end, just to kind of help with flow. That way, if you have mic issues, we're not kind of having to stop and start. If you have to leave or if you can't be here, of course, we always record these sessions and have them available through our YouTube channel. And that is youtube.com/@aptat. And then live captions, there we go, are available through our web link. We recommend those seem to be the best. We've tried to do both Zoom and web link, but that web link is now in the chat. And then, of course, when we put these up on YouTube, we'll always have them captioned. All right. I think most of our attendees already know about our program, but just for those who are listening to the recording, we are Alabama's AT-ACT program. So this is a federal funded program. We are one of 56, so all states and territories have a program. And our job is to increase knowledge, access, and acquisition of assistive technology. So we want to make sure everybody knows the power of assistive technology, really have that chance to explore it, learn more about it, get their hands on it. We do that through several different programs. Our big ones, of course, are our short-term device loan program. And actually, the device that we'll be showing you today is available through that device loan program. So if it's something you're like, hey, this looks great for me, for a family member, for somebody I'm working with, it is something that you can borrow from our loan program and have them try it out and see if that's something you want to get purchased yourself. We also have our reutilization program or reuse program. And this is where people can donate gently used medical durable devices such as like wheelchairs, bed railings, grab bars, toilet seats, those things that, you need for a little bit, maybe you don't need it all the time, canes, things like that. When you don't need it anymore, it's donated to one of our 5 centers, and then other people can pick those up for free. So it's a really nice program. It has helped so many people in ways you can't even imagine. So definitely check those out. We also have our trainings. So this is an example of one of them. We just do this one for us. We enjoy doing these and getting the word out to our programs. But also we are happy to do more direct to specific needs of users or companies or organizations. Also our big conference that we do once a year, AT Alabama. And then also providing technical assistance, general information, and then also resources for financial assistance. Just one more quick thing about us for those that are new. Who are we available to? This is for everybody. We are a program for anybody in the state of Alabama. So you could be a person with a disability, a caregiver, a service provider, just a company or organization who's interested in assistive technology to benefit their employees or customers. So it's really anybody. We are a program that's housed under Alabama Department of Rehab Services, but you do not have to be enrolled as a consumer to utilize our services. All right, so I am going to take it away, or I'm going to let Will take it away, excuse me, to talk about the Omni Cuff. I'm going to go ahead and put your website in the chat, and then I will stop sharing my screen if you prefer, and let you go from there.
Awesome, thanks, Jessica. Well, hello everybody. I am Will Mutter. I'm the founder of ReachAble Technology. I've been working with Jessica to bring Omni Cuff to various AT sites and other clinical locations to bring this new technology to individuals. I think the best thing that we can do today is I'm going to share my screen of our website so that if anyone clicks the link that Jessica just sent, we can kind of go together. And I think that's the best way to learn a little bit today, but also share information for anyone that you think this could be applicable to or like to learn more. Does everyone see the website that I'm shared right now? Okay,
Yes.
great. So this is just the homepage. This is a couple clips of Omni Cuff itself. A little bit of my background in the story behind Omni Cuff is that, for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been working in a spinal cord injury rehab hospital here in Boston at Spaulding Rehabilitation Hospital, looking at new medical devices that are being researched and developed to help individuals with spinal cord injury gain independence and function after their injury. Throughout that time, and working within the Boston area with specific community members living with spinal cord injury, saw a reoccurring aspects of technology that individuals would be continuously using, which is the more simple technology that individuals actually have access to commercially, technology that clinicians provide individuals quite easily in an inpatient or even outpatient setting. So these devices are on the low end of complexity, but can be very useful and needed for these individuals. And one piece of technology that stood out that a lot of individuals with cervical spinal cord injuries used was the universal cuff. And I saw this device a lot. But I also talked with a lot of individuals, including the individual you see in this photo, Sammy, who used the universal cuff for items such as like a fork, a stylus, spoon, maybe one other ADL item. However, there's a lot of limitations, mostly due to the simple fact that the cuff itself is really just a strap that goes around the hand with a small pocket that requires dexterity to interchange each item. So we all know that there's multiple items, usually in different ADLs, and if you have limited dexterity or difficulty, grasping items, then individuals who use universal cuffs will oftentimes require the assistance to interchange items with their caretakers or other people next to them. So even though the universal cuff allows kind of that singular item, which does provide independence, and this is great, there's that limitation of not being able to interchange with those items, specifically of going from a fork to a spoon, or a spoon to a knife, or a knife to a cup while you're eating, or for like personal hygiene, like a toothbrush, and then you want to comb your hair. The other thing we saw with the universal cuff, kind of diving deeper into this problem with Sammy, was that the cuff itself doesn't really allow for larger items, for like a cup, or just other items that didn't have the geometry that would just fit inside this kind of small cuff that was really for like a utensil or stylus. So not only was it difficult to interchange items throughout an ADL, it was actually difficult to kind of interact with the vast majority of items that he wanted to use throughout the day, just because the cuff design with that small cuff didn't allow that. And so what we wanted to do is create a device that not only allowed an individual who had difficulty grasping, they still had that proximal range of motion with possibly some, wrist mobility and the ability to have some pronation along with some shoulder range of motion. And that kind of got worked into the development of this magnetic mechanical latch where we take the same form factor of the universal cuff, but instead of the cuff itself, we actually have a magnetic mechanical latch so that an individual who can actually put this around their own hand can kind of hover onto specific items and they snap on, and then you can put it back on these vertical pegs and you can pivot off. So we're kind of recreating the outcome of grasp without having to use, grasping itself. And so we started with the cup because the cup was kind of inaccessible with a universal cuff. And then quickly was like, hey, we can take the same latch and start copying, pasting it onto other items, and we can create our own tools that we think are even better than adaptive forks or spoons that might be hard to bend or increase or shorten the length. So kind of made our own in-house products through this process, but also created more of like a general Lego-like structure to our device I'd like to go into. So we've kind of talked a little about the adapter itself. It's a strap that goes around the palm of the hand. Instead of the cuff, it has a magnetic mechanical kind of cavity to latch onto the connectors, which are on the right side of the screen right now. The connector has an equal and opposite node with a magnetic mechanical latch to attach to the adapter. Connectors connect the adapter to everyday items. So it's like a middle part. These connectors sit on the base mounts in a vertical position so that it can be even easier for an individual with limited mobility to bring their hand to the object and actually connect and then disconnect very easily. So the core elements are the adapter that goes on the hand, the base mount that provides kind of these vertical support systems for the connectors, and then the connectors themselves. You can see here of the base mount can rotate around and has these vertical pegs. These connectors themselves, you can see that you could actually connect them to your own devices at home. So if you wanted to connect to simply just a toothbrush, we have these slits that allow for a specific Velcro to actually go through. And then yourself, a family member, or a clinician can work with you to actually connect these objects together. And you've kind of created a custom kind of Lego-like adaptive device that allows you to hold, everyday items that are up to you, rather than us having to kind of create niche adaptive tools. So that allows us to really have a platform that can be produced for a lot of individuals, but also be highly personalized for a lot of individuals. So you can see this is just an example of how we take that connector and we use Velcro to connect it onto other parts. There's also the other ability here is just showing how we utilize double jointed kind of little arm that allows a lot of flexibility with something like a fork. This could also be with a spoon. And that just really allows a lot of flexibility for an individual that either wants more control and that fork really close. Maybe they want to add some more height. Maybe they want it to come closer to them. And then this just shows that we also utilize this flat face and include double-sided adhesive so that for something such as a hairbrush, you could just quickly connect it like so, press it, and now you've kind of created an adaptive hairbrush from a regular commercial hairbrush. So there's a lot of ways to adapt There's also ways that we connect the whole system to wheelchair arms. So we've connected like a small clamp to the T-slot of this wheelchair. We are now putting a mount in the general vicinity of where this individual would want to connect and disconnect. Then the bottom of our base mounts that we saw earlier actually have the ability to connect to this quick release clamp system. So we're just looking at that right now, making some smaller adjustments, talking with the individual, seeing, if this general position works well with them. And then you can kind of see you can quickly disconnect it and reconnect it. With the idea of it being a quick release is that when you put it back into the position, it's in the same position that individual and user wanted it to be in. So it's a bit more convenient, allows a person to kind of recreate that same place. And then the last, feature that we like to discuss is we want individuals to self-don and self-doff, obviously, but a lot of hand-worn assistive technology and assistive technology in general requires someone else to put on and take off your technology. So we want individuals to not only improve their independence and autonomy during the activity, but also have the ability to independently start and stop that activity. And that's just another way we're trying to maximize autonomy and independence. So we've kind of looked at some core aspects of the device itself. This is just a little video of showing how the device could be set up with the base mount itself. Now, what we have done as a company is created kits that Jessica's aware of, where we kind of combined various kits that we have. Right now, we have a meal kit, we have a technology kit that can connect to your phone, a pen, stylus, and then we also have like a general activity kit, where that's more of the connectors that you saw for, say, like hygiene items, where individuals would want to connect onto their own personal items, but also a bit easier time of using them. So these general connectors would make sense. We have right now 3 kits. We hope, in the future we'd have more. And we're working on that. But right now, as a facility, whether your AT center or a clinical site, you can actually reach out to us through our For Clinicians page. And then we'll connect with you, and we'll actually work to bring this facility kit so that you could use it to discuss with certain patients or clients to see if they would be eligible and have interest in actually using the technology. So right now, that's our main way of introducing this technology to individuals. There's been quite a lot of people reaching out, and we're super excited to bring all this technology to so many clinicians and people, and just really excited to continue to build out this technology. We see that there's a lot of impact, and there's a lot of need for more grasping technology in this space. So it's a little bit about ReachAble Technology, what we do. I would love to kind of answer any questions if possible, see if I can help with anything you might have.
Sure. I did want to share Nikisha's story. She wasn't able to join us today. I'm going to go ahead and put the slide up on the screen. So everybody else, if you have questions, feel free to put them in chat. I'm just going to kind of get the ball rolling and let you know about Nikisha's experience. Will actually had a chance to meet with her when we first got the kit, and she loved it. She had a good time with it. She did have some things that happened, and so I just want to let everybody know about it as part of your exploring with this device as well. So for those of you who don't know Nikisha, she is this wonderful program assistant that we have. So she does quite a lot of presentations with us. She's become my kind of de facto tester. So whenever we get new product in, especially if it's regarding access, she's been great at just looking it over and letting me know what, you know, her personal experience to it. So let me find I thought I had them up. Apologies, everybody. I sent her out a thing so she could read it. And I'm just trying to make sure I have the most recent notes that we had. But she is a woman who has cerebral palsy. And she's very, very independent. She's actually able to do quite a bit on her own independently. Now, she does have a care person that comes in a couple times a week to do, cleaning, cooking, things like that. But in general, she can, for the most part, feed and dress herself. But due to the CP, her grip and muscle movement can be unreliable or unresponsive. Um, I can remember times when I would like try to help her get a coat on, and we just could not get her arm to either relax or bend in a particular way. And it's just kind of one of those where she would say, it's just that's what the muscle's going to do right now. So we had to wait it out until it wanted to do what we needed it to do. So as a result of that, it can make it so her arm may not move in a particular motion, or her hand may not be able to release its grasp or its grip on items. So when Nikisha tried it, and I wish I had had pictures, I didn't get a chance to do that when we did this, but she had a very easy time putting the cuff on and taking the cuff on and off. However, for Nikisha, and I'm actually going to switch over. I have another trick up my sleeve, y'all. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. I'm going to switch my camera so you can see. So this is the cuff. And so Nikisha was very easily able to get the item on. So as he showed in the video, it has that nice loop feature. So it was really easy for her to get it on. However, for Nikisha that day, once it got on her hand, it went like that. And she could not get her hand to unclasp. So when you have a system where she needs to get this part to this part, she wasn't able to do that very easily. And when we talked with Will, and I know you had a great suggestion, Will, you talked about seeing about making something to help
Mhm.
keep that hand open. So that way she couldn't close it. She really, really wanted to try it. She was very excited about the product. So she's like, well, let me put it on the back of my hand, which really isn't going to help to feed herself or anything like that. But she wanted to make sure she had the strength to still pull the items on and off the device. So she actually put it like this. She put it to the back of her hand, which again, going to be very hard for her to actually utilize the items. But it did show her that she had that ability to still manipulate them as she needed to. So that was Nikisha's experience with it. I didn't know if you had any other similar stories or other feedback.
Yeah, I would say one, it shows that there's a necessity of all assistive technology to trial it. We're always trying to match the goals of the individuals and the features of specific technology. But yeah, we've seen this before, that there's a large need and desire, but there's also some kind of hand contractures, and we're excited to be working on bringing new adapters into our system so that someone like Nikisha could utilize this. So we're really excited for that,
Yeah.
and we'll be in close contact as we bring that out, because I think she would love to trial that when.
I did want to one more thing on Nikisha's experience, and again, with the weather and everything, it was just kind of difficult to arrange for her to be here today to really tell her own story. But what was interesting for me in working with her with this device, like I said, for the most part, she's very independent. I've seen her pick up a regular fork and spoon. However, because of her grasp, it's very easy that it slips, it falls down. But when we were talking with you, Will, when it came to looking at the universal cuffs, or the universal adapters, where you could put whatever you wanted on it, it wasn't already pre-designed. And she had brought up things that I didn't even really think about as being something, which of course, of course, hygiene, toothbrushes and things. And, and my mind would say, well, don't you usually take care of that? She's like, yeah, but, some days just,
Mhm.
again, if your hands don't want to hold on to it, she said, she was explaining to me sometimes she had this very interesting way that she has to put deodorant on depending on how her hands and her arms are doing that day. And she said something like this cuff would just kind of eliminate that, very intricate process of doing that, where she could just have that cuff and be able to do it very independently and go about her day much quicker. So it's definitely one of those tools where um, for me, it's one of those where I don't want other people to not try it for somebody else if they think, oh, well, they probably don't need it. It might be one of those where you just introduce it to somebody and see if that's something of interest. And they, as soon as they see it, they're like, oh, yeah, I could use it for XYZ and all other these 12 things that you never even thought of being useful. So that was my learning experience for sure.
Great. Yeah. No, I've heard similar experiences of people seeing this just as like a eating device or technology device, but I think a lot of what shines is the ability to connect it onto your own personal items, and we've seen that a lot.
All right. Well, let's see if we have any other questions. Um, have you had, I guess a question I have is, um, are there particular conditions or types of users that um, this may not be this is kind of a non-starter or proceed with much caution?
Mhm. That's a great question. I think that um, the blanket answer to that would be when we bring this device to a clinical site, always keeping in mind of clinical judgment and prioritizing safety. I would say with specific conditions or even pediatrics, just making sure that there's that cognitive awareness and the ability for someone to have the control enough to maintain safety. So I'd say thinking in terms of that, but just general clinical judgment, I think is always the blanket statement because there are populations that might benefit more widely than others, such as spinal cord injury. Um, but we also know that there's other conditions that can benefit a lot too. But it's really about um, understanding the needs of that client or patient and then matching those needs with the features of technologies that this could kind of be within. And that's a very clinical assistive technology process that we just want to make sense sure that this does not, stray from that process in any sense. It's another tool that, people have specific trainings on, and we want to just allow that to occur because there's a lot of individuals that can benefit from this, and there's some that it might not be super applicable to, but that's technology.
Absolutely. And in terms of purchasing, uh, right now I understand it's really just available as these specific kits. Now, is it just through like clinical sites or
Mhm.
programs? Is this something that's available to general public? What kind of how does that work?
Yeah. So right now we are sending facility kits and demo kits. I use that word interchangeably, but we're sending these demo kits to sites so that sites can work with patients or clinicians to actually see what's applicable. We're uh, understanding the process right now of how we bring this device to market, whether it be through insurance or directly with users. We've in the past brought this device directly to individuals, and individuals have purchased this device directly from us. we hope to continue and have that option in the future to make it as affordable as possible for individuals that might not be able to get coverage. But we also want to further understand if this device could be covered for individuals, because we know that even if it is available directly, any cost could be an obstacle for some individuals. So we're really just in the process right now of further understanding of how to bring that out, with our hopes that we can maximize accessibility with multiple paths. And we'll keep clinical sites updated on how we're doing with that. And we'll also keep anyone that kind of signs up as a subscriber or just follows us on any social media. We'd love to, share milestones, achievements, and ways of accessing this technology.
Excellent. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. Did you have any other additional information or things that you want to share with us on the tech?
No, I think this was great. I would say if anybody wants more information or would like to create a meeting with us or learn if this device would be applicable for them, just go on our website and fill out the contact form. That's the fastest way for us to get in contact with you, and then we'll go from there. We'd be excited to chat with anyone and learn about their site or their interest in this technology and kind of go from there.
Excellent. All right. If you have questions while I wrap up these next couple of slides, please feel free to jump in on the mic or in the chat. I'll keep that open for everybody. But for those of you attending, if you would please fill out our SurveyMonkey survey and give us some feedback. Let us know what you thought of this training, if there's other areas or other devices that you would like training on as well. Let me put that in the chat really fast here. So it is a SurveyMonkey survey. And instead of me reading the whole thing, I'm just going to put it in the chat. And then also, if you're watching the recording, I will always have these links in the description as well. All right. And then what's next? We're really excited. We have a nice lineup, a fairly wide variety of items coming up in the next couple of months. So first up will be in February, and this will be Simian Audio, and they're going to be talking about their sound field system called the Audita 2. It is this very nice, fairly lightweight for being a portable speaker system, and they're going to talk about how you can use that sound field in a variety of different settings. And be useful to those clients that have hearing impairments. In March, we're going to be talking with Aaron from Control Bionics, and we're really going to be talking about the idea of looking at multiple access methods for AAC users. So instead of it just being, oh, they're an eye gaze user or they're a direct select user, things like that, and really talking about the idea of being able to switch between methods, not just necessarily during the course of the day, because sometimes our eyes get tired, so we switch over, but also just having that combination as we're working with that system. So she'll be talking about kind of how to make those determinations and evaluate for those through the perspective of looking at the Control Bionics device while she talks about that with us. So it's kind of a little 2-for-1, right? It's a really nice topic, but then also you're getting a nice introduction to a specific piece of technology too. And then in April, we will be looking at the OB feeding system. So very, very different product from our Omni Cuff here, but again, with that idea of trying to gain more independence. So we'll be having Heather from OB talking with us about that. And I think she has some updates specifically in funding and documentation for that too. So she was very excited to schedule something with us in the spring. So with that, we'll wrap up and say thank you everybody for participating. Of course, you can always email us at aptat@rehab.alabama.gov. You find us through our socials under accessing potential through assistive technology. There we go. And we also have a newsletter, and I will make sure to put that in our video description as well. So that way you can get updates on all the latest news and events for APTAT. So thank you so much, Will. It was great to talk with you, have you walk us through this, what I think is just a really neat, just elegant product in terms of its simplicity, but all of the different potential that it has there. So thank you very much.
Got it. And thank you for setting this up. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys and go over Omni Cuff, and really excited to continue to see what happens at your site and others.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. You have a good day.